4.2. It is asking which ordered pair is a solution to 3x minus y equals 7. So here we have this function. It's always, most of the time, it's going to have x and y in it. And it wants to know which ordered pair is a solution to this function. I have a line. Which one of these points are actually going to be on the line is what they're asking you. What does 3 and 4 stand for? What does the 3 stand for? What's the 4 stand for? X is 3 and the y is 4. So we know that. That's the given. What do you think I'm going to do with the x and the y? What am I going to do with the 3 and the 4? I am going to substitute it into the function. So here's my x, here's my y. So I'm going to have 3 times x, 3x. So that's going to be 3 times 3. And then we have minus y, which is 4, equals 7. So this is like a check, right? This is how we do checks. We check it. So we're going to simplify. Notice that this side is already simplified. It says 7. Let's see what we get on the left-hand side. What's 3 times 3? 9 minus 4 equals, what's my statement say? Does 5 equal 7? No, so 5 does not equal 7. That means that 3, 4 is not a solution to the equation. 3, 4 is not a coordinate that's going to be on that line. Okay, let's check the next one. We got 4 of them to check, so we're going to set it up. 3 times my x. 3 times x is 1. 3 times 1. Minus y. Y is negative 4. You better be careful. I need to put parentheses because that's double negatives. Notice that the equation already has a negative in it, and then y is also negative. That's 2 negatives, double negatives. So we have 3x minus y equals 7. And then we need to simplify. 3 times 1 equals, and then what's a negative times negative 4? That's a positive 4. Very good. We're not subtracting, double negatives. We are not subtracting, we're adding. Equals 7. And then 3 plus 4 equals 7. 7 equals 7. Check. That means that B, that point is going to be on the line. Okay, here we go with the next part. C, we have to check all of these. So we have 3 times x. 3 times x minus. Watch out for that y. That y is negative. So I need to use parentheses and put my negative y in there, equals 7. (3x minus y equals 7). It's all set up. 3x minus my y. 3 times 5 is 15. And then we are not subtracting. A negative times a negative becomes positive 3. We see that 15 plus 3 is 18. And does 18 equal 7? No. One more. Sometimes it's 1, sometimes it's none, sometimes it can be all of them. You just have to check them all and see what happens. Now we have 2 negatives. So we have 3 times our x, 3 times negative 1. So there's 3 times x minus our y, which is also negative, minus negative 2. Does all of that equal 7? 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. Negative times negative is going to be a positive 2. Negative 3 plus 2 are different signs, so we subtract, take the sign from the larger absolute value number, and we see that only one of these are going to work. And so there we go. B is the answer. We need to solve for y. We're solving for y. We like to get y by itself for graphing. And so we're going to practice solving for y. The question you have to ask yourself is, what is being done to y? What's being done to the y? Because we need to get it by itself. We need to solve for y. What's being done to y on the first problem? It is being subtracted by 2x. So remember, we have two sides of the equation, and we want to put the negative 2x on the right-hand side. How do I move this negative 2x so that it will be on the opposite side? Very good. That's how you go back and forth on the equal sign. You do the opposite. So I'm going to add 2x, and I'm going to add 2x. Notice that you can't add 5 and 2x. 5 and 2x are not like terms. You can only add numbers with numbers and x's with x's. Here's my 0 pair. And then I have y equals, and I'm going to put my x first, 2x, and it's a positive 5. We want to get in the habit of putting the x first because this is how it's going to be used in the future. Did I get y by itself? Yes, y is all by itself now. So here's my final answer. This has a certain name, but I'm not going to give it to you until we get to that section. So we're working up to it. We're scaffolding the learning. Try problem B. Solve for y. What's being done to y this time? It's being added 3x. What is the opposite of adding 3x? So I'm going to put it on the opposite side, and so I'm going to subtract 3x. There's our 0 pair, 3x and negative 3x. And we get y equals 0 minus 3x is just a negative 3x. Okay, try the next problem. So you need to make sure you're leaving your variable on the side that it's on. You've got to get used to seeing the variable that you're trying to solve for on the left and the right. Here's my y, so I zoom in on the right-hand side this time. Y is being added by 4x, and so I'm going to subtract 4x from the right, subtract 4x from the left. All right, so what we have then is we have a negative 4x and a positive 1. Those are not like terms. What I'm going to do is I'm going to write my x first. So I'm going to put my x first. Negative 4x. Is 1 positive or negative? So I'm going to put plus 1 equals my y. You got to get used to seeing your y on the right-hand side. Okay, now the next one is a little different. I want to know what's being done to y on problem D. What is being done to y this time? Y is being multiplied by 2 and subtracted by 6x. This is like a two-step equation because there's two things being done. So first we undo the addition and subtraction, and then the multiplying or dividing. So the opposite of a negative 6x is a plus 6x. Plus 6x. I'm left with 2y equals, and again, 10 plus 6x, I stacked it like that. But I can't combine them together. They're not like terms. So then I just write my 6x first, and then my positive 10. Okay, I undid the subtraction. Now I need to undo the multiplying of 2. Ethan, what's the opposite of multiplying by 2? That means I need to do it 3 times. Divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2. All of them have to be divided by 2. And then we need to simplify. If it simplifies, it could be just an improper fraction. It's not always going to simplify right down. This part will. 2 divided by 2 is 1. That leaves us a positive 1y. What do you think we're going to get for this term right here? Very good. 6 divided by 2. That works out evenly. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So 6x divided by 2 is 3x. Sam, what are we going to get for this one? Does this one work out evenly? 10 divided by 2 is... All right, here we go with the next one. Again, I'm trying to solve for y. What does the minus sign go with? It goes with the 2y. And so the negative sign goes with the 2y. You need to look in front of the x. Is the x, Christina, positive or negative? Thank you, Christina. If I look in front of x, there's no sign there. That's how I know it's positive. Christina, what's the opposite of a positive x? I'm going to subtract x from both sides. They cancel. And you need to bring down the negative 2y. Some of you are dropping that sign when you bring it down. And then I'm going to put my x first, negative x, and it's a positive 3. I need to finish, Evan, solving for y. If y is being multiplied by negative 2, how do I undo that? I'm going to divide 3 times by negative 2. Negative 2, negative 2, negative 2. I need a positive variable, and a negative 2 divided by a negative 2 leaves me that positive 1y. And then I just need to do what the other side says. What's the number that's in front of the x right here? Okay, so I'm going to put the 1 in there. It is understood to have a 1 in there. And then I'm looking at the fraction negative 1 divided by negative 2. What's a negative divided by a negative? It's positive. These become positive. And I'm just left with 1x over 2. That's it. A half x. You can write the 1 with it, or you can put x over 2. It's a half x because there is the 1 there. It's not going to simplify anymore. It's not top heavy. It's not top heavy, so it's a number that's less than 1. And when I look at the next one, I got to be careful of my signs. What's a positive divided by a negative? Positive divided by a negative is a, so I'm going to put minus. You only want one sign there. And then 3/2 is top heavy, but does it divide out evenly? So I'm just going to write 3/2. Done. All right, here's my y. I'm zooming in on it. There's my y. I'm going to undo the 3x first. So I'm going to subtract 3x, subtract 3x, put my x first, negative 3x. It's a positive 8 equals 2y. All right, my last step is to divide everything by 2. Every single thing has to be divided by 2. I can see 2 divided by 2 is 1. That cancels to give me my y. And now I'm going to look at the other side. Negative 3/2 x does not divide out evenly, so I just put negative 3/2 x. 8 divided by 2 does work out evenly. 8 divided by 2 is 4, so I have plus 4 equals y. I'm going to go get your worksheet because I want to stop there today. I want to practice only solving for y.